r/AskReddit by Reddition. Like and subscribe. What's your favorite space fact? You could survive 90 seconds unprotected in space. But a chimpanzee can last up to 3 minutes. After traveling since 1977, Voyager 1 has now reached about 20 light hours distance from the sun. Vast does not begin to describe the universe. Saturn's tiny moon Enceladus has volcanoes that spew ice particles at speeds faster than the escape velocity. The particles leave Enceladus's atmosphere and get pulled into Saturn's ring system, forming the E-ring. There are 2 confirmed oceans in the solar system. One on Earth and one on Saturn's moon Titan. The biggest difference is Titan is about -180 degrees Celsius. The ocean is liquid methane. It even has waves that get as high as, wait for it, a couple centimeters. Neptune was discovered using math. A man named Alexis Bavard made some predictions on Uranus's future position using Newton's laws of gravity, but when it was later observed it was found to be slightly off. Urbain Le Verrier found that, if he assumed there was another planet further out, the discrepancy would be explained and used math to predict where it could be found. Finally, a man named Johann Galle looked in the spot Le Verrier specified, and lo and behold, there was Neptune. Neutron stars are so dense that a teaspoon of material from one would weigh around 10 million tons. The sun loses about 5.5 million tons of mass every second, or about 174 trillion tons of mass every year. Most of the visible stars in the night sky are binary stars, 2 stars orbiting each other. Jupiter has over 60 moons, over 70 now, and well on the way to 80 as of today. There are clouds of alcohol floating in space. That there are 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe, and that number is likely to at least double as Hubble goes further and observes more of the universe. It's insane to think that we live on a mere speck within the Milky Way galaxy, and that there are possibly 200 billion other galaxies out there, each separated by millions of light years. The enormity of the universe is mind-boggling. Venus spins backward. Whatever the direction of the other planets, when they are rotating, Venus rotates the exact opposite way. A Venus day is longer than a Venus year. I know there's an anomaly called the Bovitz Void. It's a gargantuan region of space with not a whole lot of stuff inside of it, right in the middle of an ocean of galaxies. It's kind of scary, in an existential way. If there was air in space that sound was able to travel through, at the sun's surface it would emit a deafening 290 decibels, which is so loud that it pretty much transcends sound and just turns into a pressure wave. But at the Earth's surface, it would be about 120 decibels, which is about as loud as standing a couple meters away from an active jackhammer. Where it gets spooky though, is that if the sun were to suddenly disappear, not only would it take a full 8 minutes for us to notice the lack of sunshine or gravity, but because the speed of sound is so comparatively slow, we would still hear the sun for another 13.8 years. The universe is still in its very infancy. In fact, according to some studies, despite an almost infinite number of planets, 92% of all planets there will ever be have not even been formed, yet the universe is in fact so young, relatively speaking, that several types of stars have not even had enough time to exist yet. Blue dwarfs, red dwarfs that have started spending the last of its hydrogen. The first of this kind of star is not expected to exist until 1 trillion years in the future. Considering our universe is only around 13 billion years, it is going to take some time until we spot the first blue dwarf. The blue dwarf will eventually turn into a white dwarf. Black dwarfs, a white dwarf can be formed any number of ways, and we have observed a lot of them. But, when a white dwarf star cools down, it starts the process of becoming a black dwarf. This process can theoretically take as little as 1 quadrillion years, or as much as 37 quadrillion years. This is the ultimate fate of our sun, and the process is going to take thousands of times longer than the universe has even existed so far. Being able to see a total solar eclipse is a sheer coincidence of timing. The moon is just large enough and just far enough away from Earth to appear to be the exact size of the sun during a total eclipse, when it covers the entire disk of the sun. Since the moon is slowly moving away from Earth, one day it will no longer appear large enough to fully cover the sun and there will be no more total eclipses. This won't happen for 600 million years though, so don't panic. Space welding. In a vacuum, you don't need welding materials to get two metals to fuse. They will do it on their own if you place them close enough. About 6.63 quadrillion Earths can fit in the largest discovered star. I can't say this is my favorite space fact, for obvious reasons, but it's absolutely amazing and heartbreaking. There is verifiable evidence that at least 3 astronauts survived the initial explosion of the Challenger in 1986. Each astronaut was equipped with a personal emergency air pack, and when the shuttle cabin was recovered from the Atlantic Ocean, at least 3 of these air packs were manually activated. Saturn's density allows for it to float on water if you happen to have a not so small bathtub. You could fit all the planets in the solar system in the space between Earth and the moon. We shouldn't, though. So far, only 3 people have actually died in space. Russian cosmonauts who had technical difficulties disconnecting from the space station Salyut-1, opening the airlock of their shuttle, Soyuz 11, exposing them all to the vacuum of space. What happened to their bodies? Are they still orbiting the Earth, or what? They landed, but it depressurized on their way back to Earth, and when they recovered the spacecraft they found the 3 cosmonauts dead in their seats. They were given a state funeral and a proper burial. If you were to scale the universe down, so that the sun was the size of the period at the end of this sentence, the nearest star would be 4 miles away. Also, the Big Bang was not an explosion of matter, rather it was an expansion of space itself. Everything is getting farther away from everything else, as all space is expanding. There is no center of the universe. I just wanna know what NASA's protocol is for an astronaut dying in space. Do they send the body back to Earth on a little pod? Do they send the body out the airlock to circle the Earth forever? Pluto didn't make a full revolution around the sun, which takes 248 years between being discovered, 1930, and questioning of its planetary status, 1992, or official delisting, 2006. I've always liked that, even though there is no air, space stinks. Various astronauts have described it as metallic, sweet welding fumes, burned brake pads, walnuts, and gunpowder. You are seeing nothing in real time as you look anywhere. Especially space. You are seeing light as it was. Anywhere and everywhere. Nothing is in real time. It's all in the past. My favorite is this one. A lot of the material that makes up our bodies, especially anything heavier than iron, can only be created when a star explodes. So, basically, you're made up of star stuff. Some of the static you see on old TVs is background radiation from the Big Bang. A light year is 6 trillion miles. Astronomers have observed that the structure of the universe very much resembles a neuron. I'm not even joking, look it up. How crazy would it be if the universe is just a nerve cell that's part of a giant brain? With so many satellites in orbit, the International Space Station pretty much has normal internet access including phone service. The phones are on the Johnson Space Center system and the astronauts can get an outside line by dialing 9. One astronaut, from Denmark I think, accidentally called 911 when trying to place an international call home. I got so excited when I saw this. I love astronomy and everything about it. I'll share a few space facts with y'all. Even though scientists believe that life on other planets is rare, there are trillions of other planets that could contain water, which is needed to create life. The 3 basic things needed to create life are energy, a wide diversity of chemical element, and liquid, such as water. The only element that were created in the Big Bang were hydrogen, helium, and a little bit of lithium. So, the other element must have been formed in the hot fiery cores of the first stars. Billions of years ago, the Earth was a deadly place. The Earth was taken over by lunar volcanism, and our atmosphere was extremely toxic and unstable. If the sun dies, it'll take 8 minutes for us to realize, and yet it can take 40,000 years for a photon to travel from the center of the sun to the surface. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos.